These testimonials are representative of my or our experiences, but the exact results and experience will be unique and individual to each person. The information provided herein is not medical advice and is not intended to substitute for the advice of your personal physician or other healthcare providers. Welcome to The Beautiful Bag. This is your host, Leanne Hayden, cancer survivor, and more importantly, ostomy lifer. Each and every week, I'm going to be bringing a special guest or some inspiration for you and a few little stories along the way so that you can learn what life is like for us to be living in an ostomy and why we all think it's a beautiful bag. So listen in and let's get started.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's The Beautiful Bag podcast. I am your host, Leanne Hayden. This week, we are joined by Oliver, who is across the pond, as we say, right? Because he is over in the UK. You go by the kid in the bag on Instagram. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Oliver. Yeah, I'm from London, across the pond, as you say. Yeah, it's nice to meet you all.
Yeah, so it's great to meet you. And guys, wait till you hear his story because it's absolutely fantastic. And if you're not following him on Instagram, you should be following on Instagram. He is making big changes and shouting from the rooftops about how great, his life could be, what your life could be, what it was and what it is now. So Oliver, let's dig into it. So, let's tell us your story. What led you into having your ostomy?
Yeah, so I guess it started when I was 15. So it was a few years ago. I'm 18 now, just turned 18. So I had a few symptoms, your classic symptoms like a change in bowel habits, some loose stools. I lost some weight as well, but I've always been quite a slim, I guess, teenager. I've never been like big or tall. I was always quite small and slim. But I just knew something wasn't quite right. So I went to the doctors, or the GPs, as they call them in the UK. And I had a few tests. They said something might be up. They weren't sure what. I had a few tests, some blood tests, some other tests, and it came back that there was some inflammation. And so they progressed the test further. And obviously my symptoms were still very mild. I wasn't affecting my day-to-day life at this point. And I had something called a colonoscopy, which is basically a little camera through your digestive system to basically see what is going on exactly inside. And that came back with a diagnosis of ulcerative colitis, which is a form of IBD that causes inflammation and like small ulcers along the large intestine. So at this point, it was very mild. I was still in school. I was playing sport. So it didn't really affect my day-to-day life, as I said. But then it was just a couple of weeks later, my symptoms just got worse. I mean, I was going to the toilet a lot more, losing blood. My weight just plummeted. And I was admitted to hospital quite quickly after my diagnosis, which was a shock to me. I couldn't really process what was going on, but it is what it was. And I went into hospital, and just from there, they just progressed to different medications, because IBD, as I'm sure you know, it's not curable. It's a chronic illness. So I was just progressed on the different medications, and that was just going on for a few months. And long story short, none of them worked for me. They work for a lot of people, and some they don't. And that led to the conclusion to have stoma surgery, which in simple terms removed most of my colon, which was the disease where the disease was. So you remove the disease, you're removing all the symptoms and all the pain I was in. And then after a few months of recovering from that stoma surgery, I'm now happily living as a normal teenager with a stoma bag.
See, that is so awesome. And it's the way you've kind of overcome it. I mean, you're living a life, a normal teenager, you're right, in a bag. Now, a few questions for you. So when all of this was happening, did you go straight to your parents? Because I've talked to a few people where they didn't even know how to talk to their parents. How did you tell your parents something was up for you to then go to the doctors?
Yeah, so it was very mild, as I said. So it wasn't like an immediate, so I didn't have to go to hospital straight away, but I just knew something wasn't right. And it was going on for a few months. I was having loose stools. I mean, I was always quite slim, so the weight loss wasn't too apparent, but I just knew something wasn't right. It'd been going on for a few months. It was like, I've got to go and get it checked out. So I told my mum, was like, no, we need to go to the doctors. We need to see what's going on, because something isn't quite right.
See, and that's great that you listen to your body, especially at your age.
Yeah.
Most kids just ignore things.
Yeah.
And you didn't,
Yeah.
so it's great that you didn't do that. Now, how long have you been with you? And you're in an ileostomy, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
Did they take your entire colon?
Yeah.
Okay. And how long have you been in your bag?
So it's been just over 2 years now.
Okay.
I had the surgery in 2020. So it was during the COVID pandemic, like the peak of that. So yeah, that's when I had it. It's been for 2 years now.
All right. Now let's talk about these past 2 years, right? Because you said you had symptoms and it was just mild, and then all of a sudden it was chronic. Like all of a sudden it was just there, and you had to make a change fast. Yeah. How did you, before we talk, how did you personally adjust being at your age, getting into a bag? What was that adjustment like?
It wasn't easy. I'll say that first. I sort of, the way that I approach it is that before I had the surgery, my quality of life wasn't great. It was almost rock bottom. So having the surgery made my quality of life better. Even a few days after the surgery, my life, I could see a difference. My heart rate was better. My breathing, everything was just so much better, even just a few days after the surgery. And I just, every time now I have doubts or something doesn't go quite right with the bag, I have a bad day, for example, I always just think about what my life was like before having the surgery, and how painful and how frustrated I was about being so ill and in the hospital. And now I just feel like grateful about, I've got a much better quality of life. That's how I mainly go about it. That's my main bit of advice.
It really is how you go about it. You can see it. You can see it out on Instagram. So let's talk about you going on in life. So what have you been up to these last 2 years?
Yeah, so I've just finished school, or I'm not sure what the equivalent is in America, but yeah, I'm 18 now, so I'm not sure what the equivalent is. So I finished school.
It's about the same. It's about the same. High school is done at around 18.
And yeah, so yeah, I've been adjusting to school with the stoma bag, obviously, and it hasn't been easy again, but there were ways around it. Sorry, and yeah, I'm just now on to the next stage of my life, I think.
Awesome. So during that school time, during those few years while you were in high school, how were your friends? I'm sure you had such a great support system because you have such a great personality and so positive.
Yeah.
How was that like?
Like my friends were very accepting when I had the stoma bag, but when I was first diagnosed and I was like in and out of hospital, I wasn't really in school much. After I was diagnosed, I didn't really tell anyone then. I was quite embarrassed. I was just like making an excuse, like it's a long story or it's complicated. There's things along those lines. When I was coming back into school, people were like, oh no, where were you? But now when I've had the stoma bag, it's obviously I created the Instagram accounts, people are seeing it on social media. And yeah, they were just really happy that I was, back being a normal teenager. I was healthy, able to play football or soccer again, which I like to play with them. So yeah, they were really accepting, which was really good.
That's amazing. Now, did you find that being able to post on Instagram, being able to share your story out on Instagram, did that make it easier for you to process everything that you went through?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. That's one of the reasons I created it. It's a way that's helped me accept it mentally. I'm speaking about it, being open. That's what's personally helped me. Obviously, it's not really the same for everyone. Everyone's got their own ways of coping and dealing with challenges in general. So yeah, 100%. It's definitely helped me in that point.
That's awesome. Now, what about now? You said you love football, soccer.
Yeah.
It has not held you back from being able to play those sports, has it?
No, not at all. I mean, I have to be a little bit more careful. There's like some belts, like support belts you can wear that help keep the bag like supported and stable, and you feel comfortable in it. Yeah, building up your fitness is very hard because you just come from literally skin and bone. You're trying to slowly build up your strength and your fitness. But yeah, it hasn't held me back one bit.
That's awesome. So what's next for Oliver? Where are you off to next? What are you doing? What are you up to now?
I'm hoping to go to university.
Yeah.
In the UK, hopefully, and yeah, I mean, carry on with the Instagram, carry on playing sport, and yeah, just enjoying my life, really.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, you know, your story is so sweet, and it's so cute how you it's cute. It's really special how you figured out something was wrong, went to your parents, said, this is it. We got to go get this checked out. And in a matter of months, like you said, it wasn't like this long progressive thing, like a very long progressive thing. In a matter of months, you know, your life changed, and your positivity around it is truly amazing, truly amazing. And I can't wait to keep watching you play soccer and head off to university. And all right, I'll say football.
Yeah, that's the one.
Play football. You know, so if there was one thing that you would want to leave the listeners with, what would that one thing be? What would you want to let them know?
One last thing is, if you do have any symptoms of anything, just go and get it checked out. I mean, the doctors, their jobs are to help you. Most of the times there's nothing wrong, but just to be sure, because it can save lives at the end of the day. So don't be scared, although it can be, and I've been in that situation, but the doctors are there to be there to support you and help you. It's their job at the end of the day. So yeah, please go and check out any symptoms you've got. It can save your life.
I love it. I love it. Well, Oliver, thank you so much for being here with us this week. Truly appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you for having me as well.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. If you enjoyed this podcast, get the behind the scenes at leannehayden.com/ostomy updates. And also, if you found this episode encouraging, please screenshot it and share it on Instagram. And don't forget to tag me and also the person who was on the episode with me. I occasionally will do special gifts for anyone who does do a screenshot and share it on Instagram or in your stories. Also, lastly, please go to Apple or Google, rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast to keep up with them every single week. I enjoy you guys. Thank you so much for being here.